Right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, suing over the surge. The city of St. Louis taking Kia and Hyundai to court after car thefts spike.
A chilly start to the week, but March ends windy, warmer, and stormy. The area is most likely to see severe weather Friday.
And our top story tonight, a mass shooting at a grade school in Nashville.
My heart hurts for them.
Thoughts from St. Louisans who went through the same tragedy. Plus, hear from the national safety expert trying to protect them. Tonight, that Tennessee community and the entire nation are grieving the loss of 3 9-year-old children and 3 adults, all killed at school today. Good evening, I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. The shooter, a 28-year-old, was a former student. NBC's Chris Pallone walks us through the timeline and explains how authorities may have found a motive.
Authorities rushed to the scene in Nashville.
We're under a mass casualty alert. The school shooting, multiple victims down.
Police say a shooter armed with 2 AR-style weapons and a handgun shot and killed 3 students and 3 adults.
Evelyn Dickhouse, William Kenny, Hallie Scruggs. 3 adults, Mike Hill, a custodian, age 61, Cynthia Peak, to my understanding, a substitute teacher, age 61, and Catherine Kuntz, age 60.
Less than 15 minutes after the first call, police confronted and killed the shooter.
We've identified the shooter as Audrey Hale, 28. She does identify as transgender, yes.
Police say the shooter was a former student. Investigators believe it was a targeted attack. Authorities searched a Nashville area home.
We know and believe that entry was gained through shooting through one of the doors.
And police believe they may have a possible motive.
We have a manifesto, we have some writings that we're going over.
While investigators search for why this happened.
It's baffling. It doesn't make sense. You can't make sense out of it why someone would hurt children like that.
Nashville is the latest community to cope with what has happened. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Here at home, many are thinking about the young students, their families, and the Nashville community after today's shooting.
And new tonight, our Robert Townsend is live outside Central Visual and Performing Arts High School in South St. Louis, where gunfire rang out just 5 months ago. Robert.
Mike and Ann, I talked to a CVPA mom, a school safety expert, and a psychologist. Tonight, they're sharing their thoughts about the nation's latest school shooting.
I'm sure there's a round of shockness right now.
Monday's deadly shooting at a private Christian school in Nashville, Tennessee was an emotional and chilling deja vu for Vandina Washington of St. Louis.
My heart hurts for them.
She cannot stop thinking about the 3 children and 3 adults police say were shot and killed by one woman.
I can't imagine what those parents are going through.
5 months ago, Washington's 15-year-old son, Brian Collins, was shot in both wrists and his neck when a gunman opened fire inside a classroom at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. Brian's teacher, Jean Kushka, and classmate Alexandria Bell were both killed.
I know what these next few days look like for those parents, and I know what the next few weeks and months look like for the staff. And it's hard.
Unfortunately, I'm not surprised by it.
John McDonald is the nationally recognized Chief Operating Officer of the Council for School Safety Leadership in Columbia, Missouri. He's responded to 7 school shootings nationwide, including Sandy Hook and CVPA. Now he's reaching out to this Tennessee school district.
What we're seeing now is a callousness and an anger and a desire for retribution. And these people are not afraid to broadcast their intent.
A Webster University psychologist says it's important for parents whose kids witness or see school shootings in the news to waste no time talking to your little ones.
Address those things head on, the immediate concerns, reassure them, make sure they feel safe.
And McDonald is stressing that he says parents remember to have age-appropriate conversations with your children about school shootings. Live in South City, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Just hours ago, President Biden and some lawmakers on Capitol Hill called for more gun control legislation.
It's just, it's sick. So I call on Congress again to pass my assault weapons ban. It's about time that we began to make some more progress.
The fact that this is a daily occurrence in America is unconscionable. We need to pass more reform to keep guns out of dangerous hands and to keep our children safe.
Senator Durbin says he urges his fellow lawmakers to come together on a bipartisan bill. Just last week, several St. Louis County fire departments adopted a new fire code to protect children in the classroom.
It mandates color-coded labeling both inside and outside school buildings, doors, and windows. Those colors and numbers correspond to indoor signs in the hallways. The numbers all need to be a certain height so first responders can see them from a distance. We will continue to follow the latest developments happening out of Nashville, and you can keep up with all the details on the 5 on Your Side app.
Tonight, the major case squad is searching for the gunman in a shooting that killed a 14-year-old boy. Police say they found him shot in the chest on Larry Lane near Frost Avenue, in Berkeley last night. Investigators have not released the victim's name. They say he's from the city. We spoke to a neighbor who says she's tired of the gun violence, and it's terrible that it keeps happening between young people.
They have to get them from somewhere, and I think they are telling these kids, if you do stuff, I think they are telling them you're juvenile, nothing gonna happen. But you know, they need to be trained up and taught the right way. But what I'm finding out, they don't have any real parents or anybody to guide them or steer them in the right direction.
18 investigators from the major case squad are handling the case, and right now they do not have any suspects.
Police now know the identity of the woman who died this morning in South St. Louis. Officers found Jalea Hunter of Bellefontaine Neighbors dead in a car behind a building at Arsenal in Iowa. An 18-year-old man was taken to the hospital with critical injuries. So far, no arrests in this case. Anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers. That's an anonymous tip line, 866-371-TIPS. Tonight, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is investigating a series of car break-ins and thefts.
It happened over the weekend in an Imperial neighborhood just off Highway 55. Our Laura Barczewski talked with car owners in the neighborhood this afternoon. Laura?
Mike and Ann, they tell me they really just want the break-ins to stop. This isn't the first time this has happened on their street, but luckily this time they were caught on camera.
Early Saturday morning, Imperial resident Brad Bowen got a wake-up call he wasn't expecting.
And the cops were at the door. Officer was at 3, and he said, "Hey, you need to come out. Somebody was going through your truck."
His Ring doorbell caught the thieves rummaging through his truck parked outside his house on Kensington Court, but luckily he didn't have anything of value in there, so they left empty-handed. This isn't the first time this neighborhood has dealt with this, pushing many of them to get cameras.
It goes in spurts. Sometimes that happened probably 2 years ago, but it's just right off the highway, and there's a new subdivision over there. Everybody got to be vigilant and lock their vehicles. That's the only way you can stop it.
The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says, unfortunately, someone a couple streets over did have their white Mazda SUV stolen because the keys were still in the car. The thieves used it to try and get into other cars shortly after.
If you care about other people's stuff, you know that insurance rates are going to go up with stolen vehicles, and that's going to affect everybody. Plus, these cars and these guns are going to be used in other crimes. So it affects everyone.
The suspects ended up abandoning the Mazda and leaving in a gray Chrysler 300 because of a watchful neighbor who saw them pulling on door handles and going through cars.
So then she set the alarm off on the garage camera, and they went on down to the neighbors, and as soon as they heard the alarm, they had stolen another car, and they left it in front of the neighbor's house.
Data from the sheriff's office shows 348 vehicles were stolen last year. Nearly a third of them had the keys inside. So far this year, 49 vehicles have been stolen, and almost half of them had the keys inside.
Lock your car, take your keys inside, don't leave a gun in the car.
If you know anything about the suspect's gray car, a gray Chrysler 300, or have any additional information about what happened, you're asked to call the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office.
Tonight, St. Louis is taking Hyundai and Kia to court for the city's spike in car thefts. In the last year, the two automakers have accounted for 88% of all reported attempted vehicle thefts in the city of St. Louis. The city says its police department has spent too much time and money investigating. Now the mayor wants the automakers to pay up.
Simply put, by refusing to follow industry standards, making their cars so easy that a child could do it, Kia and Hyundai created a public safety hazard in cities across the country and put a target on the backs of their customers.
The lawsuit alleges that Kia and Hyundai didn't follow industry standards and never installed engine immobilizers on millions of cars. While commonly used and mandatory in Europe and even Canada, they are not a required component in cars produced in the U.S. In a statement, a Hyundai spokesperson says the company is now offering free software upgrades to consumers. So is Kia. And in its statement, a spokesman responded directly to the suit, saying lawsuits against Kia by municipalities are without merit. Seattle, San Diego, Columbus, and Milwaukee also filed similar lawsuits against the automakers.
The Cardinals are expected to bring a pretty penny into downtown St. Louis this season. Greater St. Louis and Explore St. Louis estimate that the team will generate more than $350 million in economic impact. The analysis says the games are projected to attract over 3.3 million fans. The home opener is Thursday against the Toronto Blue Jays, and later in sports, Frank Cusimano takes a look at how the Cardinals offense is shaping up this year. And don't forget, you can get everything you need to know about opening day sent straight to your phone. All you have to do is text the word Cardinals to 314-425-5355.
I decided to veto it. It makes sense to veto it.
A first for President Biden. Tonight, our Verify team makes sense of what his first veto means for your retirement savings. Dangerous dyes.
So how is it possible that this coloring is banned in makeup, but not from the candy that many of our children could be eating?
They're hidden in some popular treats. The health problems they can cause.
Here's the storm system we're tracking. This doesn't get here until Friday, but it's an active pattern that tends to produce severe weather in the Mississippi Valley. What we're anticipating, plus the opening day forecast.
President Biden recently issued the first veto of his presidency. It affects your retirement savings. And tonight, Brandon Lewis from our Verify team explains what it means for your investments.
President Joe Biden issued his first veto by blocking a bill that would have prevented retirement managers from considering environmental, social, and governance, or ESG factors, when making investment decisions. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said the law would have protected Americans from advancing radical activism. One viewer contacted us at verifythis.com to ask what it means for their pension. So let's verify. Does President Biden's veto require retirement accounts to be invested in ESG funds? Our sources are the U.S. Department of Labor and the American Retirement Association. ESG is a scoring framework to help investors evaluate a company's sustainability and ethical impact. In 2020, the Trump administration enacted a Department of Labor rule that required retirement fund managers at private companies to make investment decisions based only on what will bring in the highest financial return. In January 2023, the Biden administration reversed that rule, permitting managers to consider ESG factors, but it's not mandatory. Congress passed a bill in March that would have made the Trump-era rule a law, but Biden vetoed it. This means after all of that, private sector retirement plan managers may consider ESG factors in their investment choices, but they aren't required to do so. So, no, Biden's veto does not require retirement accounts to be invested in ESG funds. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What would you like us to verify? Send us an email to verify@ksdk.com.
Tonight, a potential new deal between the U.S. and Mexico to fight two growing crises, guns and fentanyl. The agreement involves Mexico cracking down on labs with drug smugglers, while the U.S. promises to restrict the flow of American guns into Mexico. Sources are telling NBC News the Biden administration is preparing an announcement on the deal.
Give yourself some extra time tomorrow morning if you take I-44. Right now, one eastbound lane is closed over the Merrimack River in Eureka. Construction crews will work on the bridge through December. MoDOT asks that drivers use alternative routes during morning and evening rush hours.
Tonight, 9 states, including Illinois, are dealing with a beef recall. 1.7 tons of boneless beef chuck are voluntarily being recalled after E. coli was found in a sample. The product was packed on February 16th by Elkhorn Valley Packing, that's located in Kansas. If you have any, throw it out or return it to the store where you purchased it.
Think back to all those Valentine's Day candies you may have enjoyed, especially the red ones. Some of them could have been made with a food coloring called red dye number 3. While the dye adds vibrant color, Consumer Reports explains potentially harmful health hazards as well.
Mommy, could I have a snack, please?
Elena Ramsden tries to give her children foods free from additives and artificial food dyes.
I'm concerned about the long-term effects neurologically and developmentally, so I just try to avoid them if I can.
When it comes to food, appearances can be deceiving, especially when it comes to coloring and flavoring.
Red number 3 dye, also known as erythrocin, is a synthetic dye derived from petroleum, and it's used in food and drinks to give them a kind of bright cherry red color.
Decades ago, the Food and Drug Administration banned red dye number 3 from all cosmetics after studies show it caused cancer in lab animals. Yet the dye is still lurking in thousands of varieties of candies, gummies, cakes, beverages, even medicines.
So how is it possible that this coloring is banned in makeup, but not from the candy that many of our children could be eating?
That's why last October, Consumer Reports, along with more than 20 other advocacy groups, signed a petition from the Center for Science and the Public Interest to ask the FDA to prohibit the use of red dye number 3 in foods, dietary supplements, and ingested drugs. Besides the potential cancer risk, some studies show concerns that artificial food dyes, including red dye number 3, contribute to children's neurobehavioral problems such as hyperactivity. The International Association of Color Manufacturers, an industry trade group, tells Consumer Reports that there's not enough evidence associating the dye with behavioral problems and maintains it is safe at the levels most people consume. To limit artificial colors, Elena likes to read the ingredients carefully.
So we read the labels and make sure that everything is as natural as can be.
The FDA requires manufacturers to list red dye number 3 on the label. And food safety experts are also concerned about other artificial dyes. Studies of kids' exposure to red number 40, yellow number 5, and yellow number 6 have shown similar neurobehavioral effects in children.
Today it was nice and sunny, but cooler. What's the rest of this opening day week have in store for us? Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is here.
The ups and downs of March. You know, we're winding up the month here. By the end of the month, it's really warm, it's windy, but it's also stormy. So we have a lot going on weather-wise. The good news is we won't have a lot going on weather-wise opening day. Thursday, looking good. In fact, tonight, clouds are starting to increase again from the west, but it's been a pretty quiet evening across the St. Louis area. Temperatures dropping back into the 40s with that mainly clear sky. There is another disturbance coming across Kansas. Little bands of snow and some brief showers with that. As it pushes to the east, it tends to fizzle out on us, so we're not expecting a whole lot of rain late tonight or early tomorrow, but there is a chance we'll get a couple of sprinkles, spritzes, or a light shower or two. In Arnold right now, all is quiet and the roads are on the dry side around St. Louis. Got a relatively quiet pattern here for today, tomorrow, and into Wednesday. And then things will start to change by the end of the week. 48 degrees right now, dew point's 29, so the air's still fairly dry. Because we had clouds early in the morning, it took a while to rebound, but we managed to get back to 56 degrees this afternoon. Here's your futurecast going into tomorrow. Early in the morning, we'll see a chance for some light showers, spritzes moving in from the west. This looks worse than it really is. It's going to be extremely light rain. What of it there is that reaches the ground. The air is fairly dry, so more clouds than rain tomorrow. And those clouds start to break up tomorrow evening. Problem is those clouds break up tomorrow evening, the sky's clearing, the wind's dying down, the air's pretty dry. That means we are looking at frosty conditions early on Wednesday. So a reminder, still a little early to plant some of those spring vegetables and spring flowers. Look at this though. Speaking of spring, what a perfect day here as we head towards Thursday. The opening day festivities all day long will be dry and nice. Not so much so on the West Coast tonight. Heavy rain and snow pushing in, big storm system. This is the one we're dealing with as we head towards the end of the week. It really is a pretty active pattern. The little disturbance coming through late tonight and early tomorrow doesn't amount to much, but this system coming into California has a tremendous amount of energy with it. It also has a tremendous amount of wind aloft, and we're going to add to that as it moves towards us on Friday. Cold front comes in from the west. Winds are out of the south at the ground. That means we're getting warmer, more humid air in here, and that also means there's a pretty widespread area, including all of Illinois and most of Missouri, where severe weather is possible. So we've gone ahead and put Friday as a weather first weather alert day because we will be dealing with the potential of some stronger storms. Now, what do you do at this point? Well, we can't pinpoint the exact timing and placement or even the threats. But this far out, it's highly likely that somewhere in the bi-state area we'll be dealing with some stronger storms. So we just be prepared, know where our safe places are, and, stay tuned and up to date on the weather this week.
As we get closer, we'll know more.
Yeah, we'll get it fine-tuned for you.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Well, Mike, some think it's better to be younger if you're in television, but in college basketball, it's better to be older. That story, the Cardinals and St. Louis City SC.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
The prognosticators are saying about 89 wins for the Cardinals. That's reasonable. But what if a couple of these phenoms with impressive minor league hitting resumes expedite the learning curve? Could be a fun summer at Busch. Cardinals and Orioles today from Sarasota. Here's one of them, Nolan Gorman. This is a towering homer to dead center field, his 4th of the spring, a 911 OPS and a 373 on-base percentage for that man, Nolan Gorman. And Jordan Montgomery also looked good in the final spring training game of the year. 5 innings, 4 Ks, 3 hits, and 1 earned run. Cardinals win 8-2. Our new contributor, Katie Wu, says this offense is more than Goldie and Arenado.
Wilson Contreras, who I think was just a really smart signing for the Cardinals in terms of addressing 2 birds with 1 stone. They addressed the catching need and improved their offense. That's not even to bring up guys like Nolan Gorman, who I think had one of the most impressive springs this spring. But I do think when you're looking at the Cardinals overall in terms of offense, this is one of the most exciting lineups in recent memory, and for good reason.
Phillies and Blue Jays, and here we have what seems to be a harmless miscommunication, not to umpire Randy Rosenberg, who ejects JT Realmuto. There were some words exchanged over a pitch clock violation, but really, at least one umpire is in midseason form. Give me a break.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
I've always thought that low expectations were the way to go in life. My wife obviously subscribes to this theory by marrying me. But it's like if you tell your parents you're getting a C and you get a B, well, everybody's happy. And with St. Louis City SC, we had no real expectations for this expansion team, and they're the first in history to start 5-0. And they're the second MLS team in over 2 decades to go 5-0. They scored 4 goals, and Roman Berkey allowed no goals in Utah on Saturday night.
A magnificent night. Roman Berkey comes up trumps. Many times he got us out of tight situations, made 2 magnificent world-class saves. And then, I have to applaud, the team that started and then the substitutions that came in.
Dennis Gates and Mizzou got another player. He is a shooting guard named John Tonje out of Colorado State. 6'5", 1,000-point scorer. Last season, he averaged almost 15 a game, and he shot 39% from 3. Finally tonight, size matters in college basketball, but now so does age. Because of the COVID year, the portal, and the NIL, kids are staying around longer. In terms of experience, it's the oldest NCAA tourney in history. And coaches know it's better to get that 23-year-old from a mid-major who just averaged 12 points a game as opposed to the 18-year-old high school kid. Remember, when one-and-dones were really chic at Kentucky and Duke? Well, you don't necessarily win with freshmen now. In the Final Four, only 2 of the 20 starters are freshmen. I'm not saying you don't recruit 5-star players anymore, but the smarter way is to go to the portal and pluck them. It's like avocados at the grocery store. Get the older ones. Mizzou has figured it out, and SLU should do the same. And that'll do it in sports.
All right, Frank, thanks. Well, who said malls are a thing of the past? The addition's coming to a booming West County center.
A new sushi restaurant opens on the Hill tomorrow. Sato took over the old Giovanni spot. The restaurant's owner and head chef, Nick Bognar, was a semi-finalist in the James Beard Awards in 2019 and 2020. Sato will be open every day except Mondays.
A new Deerbergs location opens tomorrow in Crestwood, located at Watson and Sappington. Doors will open at 9 a.m.
Your summer shopping's about to get some more options. Our partners at the St. Louis Business Journal say West County Center is opening new stores and adding a vegan dining option. Aldo, The Back Store, and Golden Gems will open in April. Over the summer, Offline by Aerie, Lovesac, and Gearhead Outfitters will also open.
And let's check on that 10-day forecast with Scott.
Well, you know, we've got the weather alert day for Friday. That's when we have the potential for some stronger thunderstorms. But tomorrow, just a chance for a few light showers around, mainly more clouds and cool than anything else. And then you've got some sunshine Wednesday into opening day. Think it's going to be a pretty doggone nice opening day in St. Louis. Certainly been a lot worse. Temperatures in the upper 60s, close to 70 Thursday.
Glad it's waiting until Friday.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Jimmy's guests tonight are Nathan Lane, Dove Cameron, and Little Uzi Vert. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. and have a great tomorrow.